The NBA's LeBron James tries to dunk on freedom and gets totally rejected. CNN is exposed for the left-wing anti-Trump network that it is, and the Democrats debate in Ohio. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. I hope you're having a great week. We're going to start with the NBA because if you remember last week, we talked about how the NBA was not only lame but hypocritical in siding with China for the almighty dollar rather than standing up for freedom. And if you recall, this whole incident blew up because the NBA's Houston Rockets general manager, Daryl Morey, he put out a tweet where he said, "Fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong." Okay, well, so China freaked out, all right? Chinese businesses said they were going to pull sponsorships from the NBA. The Chinese government threatened that they were going to not broadcast or stream NBA games and things like that. Massive pressure, basically saying, hey, NBA, you need to come to our side. You need to denounce this, or we're going to withhold dollars from you. So what did the NBA do? I mean, they are the social justice warriors of professional sports leagues. Did they stand up? Did they say, hey, freedom is a totally, American thing for us to embrace? Nope. They caved. They denounced it. They denounced the tweet. They put out statements supporting China and how wrong this tweet was. And it was pathetic. And again, they were roundly denounced. But then LeBron James, the NBA's chief spokesman, chief player for social justice warrior issues, decided to get into the mix. Rather than just let this die, he spoke out, and here's part of what he said.
When you're misinformed or you're not educated about something, and I'm just talking about, the tweet itself, you never know the ramifications that can happen.
So he says misinformed and uneducated, and he's talking about the tweet. So what part of fight for freedom, stand for Hong Kong, was misinformed or uneducated? What is he even talking about? And he went on, here's more.
We all seen what that did. Not only did for our league, but for all of us in America, for people in China as well. And sometimes you have to think through things that you say that may cause harm, not only for yourself, but for the majority of people. And I think that's just a prime example of that.
So did you catch what he said there? He said that this tweet was bad for all of us in America and people in China too, that the tweet was bad, that it will cause harm to the majority of people. The tweet, standing for freedom, fighting for freedom, that tweet will cause harm to the majority of the people. So as you can imagine, the blowback, the backlash from this was intense. People went on Twitter, they went on other social media platforms and just blasted him because, again, he's siding with China. And these guys are supposed to, the NBA and players like this are supposed to stand up for freedom, and they bash and get on board with any kind of left-wing progressive issue. But here, for freedom, they back off, and now LeBron James is coming out supporting China. So with all the backlash, he decided to take to Twitter and clarify things, and he only made it worse. Check this out. He said, "My team and this league just went through a difficult week. I think people need to understand what a tweet or statement can do to others, and I believe nobody stopped and considered what would happen. Could have waited a week to send it." All right, so how do you think that one went over? When you have people in Hong Kong that are getting beat up, that are getting imprisoned, that are trying to fight for freedom, he talks about him and the NBA having a rough week, that it was a tough week for them, and we need to just, all relax and back off. People are fighting for freedom there. The Chinese government 30 years ago in Tiananmen Square killed people because they wanted democracy. Hong Kong wants democracy. They want freedom. And LeBron James is coming down on the side of China. It's just absolutely pathetic. So next, I want to talk to you about CNN, because as we've all seen, the ratings have gone down. I used to think MSNBC was the worst, but CNN's ratings are actually worse, consistently worse than MSNBC's, because they've gone so in the tank in this anti-Trump movement. They've thrown real journalism totally out the window, and they are so focused on left-wing progressive issues and bashing President Trump. Well, Project Veritas has a new video out, and once again, just like they did with going undercover for Planned Parenthood and exposing what's really going on in that organization, they had a person, a CNN employee, who went undercover, recorded meetings, and the results are just, I say they're stunning, but not surprising, and that sure enough, CNN is exactly what we thought they were. And here's part of their video.
It's not politics that motivates me. It's basically me wanting the news to be what they used to be, news, and not a infotainment or a game show or chasing the ratings like CNN purports it to be facts first, and that's clearly not the case.
So that was a CNN employee, Kerry Porch, and he recorded these meetings. And what did he find? Basically that everything CNN denies that they do, that's what he found. Check this out.
This is fairly rapidly after I started, within the first 3 to 6 months, that there was a strong groupthink that permeated through the halls, and that everyone was on board the, I hate Trump train, or I want to, basically go after anyone, on the center or on the right politically.
So that's the environment. That's the place he was in day to day, hearing things like this. But what went on in the actual meetings? Here's one example of a producer, a CNN producer, pitching an idea or giving an update to CNN President Jeff Zucker on what's going on at MSNBC. And it just shows the singular focus that Zucker and CNN has on getting President Trump. Check this out.
Guns will be the central topic in the 2020 Democratic nomination race today. The Giffords PAC has paired up with MSNBC. They've got a gun town hall in Las Vegas. 10 candidates will be showing up there throughout the day. I don't care about the MSNBC event, okay? I don't care about them. Let's just stay very focused on impeachment.
So you can see it's all about getting President Trump. That's their focus. That's all they want to do. Other news, other breaking events, they might lightly cover it, but their focus, their actual focus, their agenda, what they talk about in the meetings is impeachment, 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 and how to get President Trump. And so that leads to last night's Democrat debate, which was hosted by CNN. And guess what the topic was? One of the main topics, impeachment. They're going to push that the whole way until the rest of either the hearings play themselves out, which they'll probably then go on to the next scandal, or the election. We'll see what happens. But here's a clip from last night's debate.
You have said that there's already enough evidence for President Trump to be impeached and removed from office. But the question is, with the election only 1 year away, why shouldn't it be the voters who determine the president's fate?
Because sometimes there are issues that are bigger than politics, and I think that's the case with this impeachment inquiry.
Issues bigger than politics. She actually said that. And it's hilarious to think that Elizabeth Warren is saying that, because there are tons of issues that are bigger than politics, that transcend politics. But impeachment for the Democrats is not one of them, okay? This is solely about politics, bringing down President Trump. They've tried to do it from the beginning through the media, through the Democrats, through the deep state bureaucrats that have been fighting him all the way. So for her to get up there to this audience and to the television audience and say that this is not about politics, I mean, I'm surprised other people weren't laughing on stage, because it's all about politics. Everybody knows it. I mean, it's just nuts. And here's more. This Anderson Cooper went on, and this time he asked Bernie Sanders.
You're all going to get in on this, by the way. Senator Sanders, do Democrats have any choice but to impeach President Trump? Please respond.
No, they don't. In my judgment, Trump is the most corrupt president in the history of this country. It's not just that he obstructed justice with the Mueller report.
So Sanders just brought up the Mueller report. Okay, so the discredited Mueller report. That's one of the things he's basing on as far as corruption. When the previous administration, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, had actual corruption. I mean, whether it's the IRS, whether it's Benghazi, whether it's gun running, you name it, on and on and on, they had actual corruption in the administration. And now, from the time that President Trump was inaugurated, These Democrats have been going after him with charge after charge that amount to nothing. And yet, again, this was a big focus of CNN, big focus of the debate. There were other things that were said too. And here's just one example. This is Robert Francis O'Rourke talking about his guns again. And he was asked about his previous statements that he was going to come in and just take our AR-15s. He was just going to come and get them. And here's what he said last night.
If someone does not turn in an AR-15 or an AK-47, one of these weapons of war, or brings it out in public and brandishes it in an attempt to intimidate, as we saw when we were at Kent State recently, then that weapon will be taken from them. If they persist, there will be other consequences.
So, yep, he just doubled down. He doesn't have a plan. He doesn't know how it's going to happen because we don't know who owns AR-15s out there. But he's going to get them. If you're brandishing the weapon out in public, we're going to take it from you. You're going to face other consequences. And then later he said that people would do the right thing. Like they're just going to turn in their guns. He's absolutely out in space and fading fast. But that was not all. I mean, one other thing that really stood out to me is Mayor Pete, okay? He's talking about the Supreme Court, and literally in the same sentence, in the same breath, he says he wants to depoliticize the U.S. Supreme Court, but then he says that he's only going to appoint pro-abortion judges. I want to depoliticize the court, but I'm only going to assign or appoint judges who agree with me politically. How's that? That's the Democrats for you right there. And it's just, I mean, they are consistently lame, and it's so hard to watch these debates. And finally, I want to talk to you about the new Army physical fitness test, the Army combat fitness test that they are implementing in 2020, but they have been testing it this year. And it's supposed to be a gender-neutral fitness test. Now, I don't even know what that means, a gender-neutral fitness test. I mean, are they supposed to design a test where men and women come out the same? I mean, it's physical fitness. It involves strength and endurance and stuff like that, right? Well, they've been testing it, and here's some of the results. And this is a report from the Daily Caller. It says, women are failing the U.S. Army's new fitness test at higher rates than men, according to a viral Facebook post that was confirmed by the military Tuesday. The Facebook page, U.S. Army WTF Moments, posted several slides claiming 84% of female candidates were failing the new Army combat fitness test compared to 30% of males, according to military.com. Army officials said the slides were not official documents, but they did not deny their accuracy. The slides reportedly show results from 11 battalions, including 2,849 men and 357 women. All right, so that has the politically correct Pentagon, of course, freaking out because they are now imagining that men and women are equal in combat, and all the results should absolutely be the same, regardless of it, again, if it has to do with strength or speed or endurance or overall fitness or things like that. And here's more from the Daily Caller. It says, the Daily Caller has previously reported on the U.S. Army lowering its standards for women in Ranger training and sought to prevent that truth from coming out. Since the Pentagon lifted its ban on combat roles for women, 35 women have reached Army Ranger status. So that's the Army side. Well, what's going on the Marine side? Here's more. It says, in 2016, retired female Army Colonel Ellen Herring complained about the Marines' fitness standards being too high, citing that no woman had managed to pass. The current requirement for infantry officers in the Marine Corps is that they carry a load of up to 152 pounds for 9.3 miles while completing the hike in an appropriate time. Herring argued that there were very few times a Marine infantry officer would have to carry that much weight, so the standards should be lowered to match the combat endurance test, which women have passed. All right, so my question is this. What is, and hopefully you guys can help me out, because first, what is a gender-neutral fitness test? And then I want to know if the backpack that they wear is gender-neutral, if the body armor and the plate carriers they wear are gender neutral, meaning do they weigh less for women than men? In a combat situation, will women be carrying less and having to hike less in combat than men? This whole gender neutral stuff, I just don't get it. Can you do the job or can't you? Can you pass these standards, which you may have to face in the battlefield, carrying things for long distances, for long periods of time? Can you do it or not? So that's what's going on in the military. Folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-Minute News Hour. Okay, friends, just a little reminder before you go, and no, this does not count against my 13 minutes. Please hit the subscribe button below and tell your friends. And if you happen to miss our last show, you can check it out right here. And also for great conservative news and commentary, please check out GOPUSA.com. All right, folks, we'll see you on the next show. Have a great day.